Yeah, that was me yawning. God yawns as the devil drinks coffee. Enough of that. Yes, I too have a coffee machine, and it is it's pretty awesome. Although I also live within walking distance of a Starbucks, so I guess I'm using both. Welcome everybody to the stream. The stream where, since we're all indoors, or at least everybody in California, we're gonna chill. We're gonna read some internet horror stories. We're gonna critique them. So it's fair use. Yes, I do know what fair use is. Come at me. How are you feeling, my dude? I am doing well, David. Thank you very much. I'm feeling a lot better. I had bronchitis because, of course, that's going around now too. But thankfully, it wasn't coronavirus, so I'm happy about that. Um, Throat is feeling better. Of course, I've always had the problem of not being able to speak for long periods of time, so I'm sure my voice is going to get weary anyway. But yeah, no, I'm feeling good. Figured I could do a little hangout stream, and if people like this, then we can do some more. And feel free to share this link around. Let me put it in the chat. Share it around if you think people wanna join in. Thank you, Kayla, for posting it. All these Discord servers have so many rooms, I have no idea where to put anything anymore. All right. Let's get started. I do have it on screen, and I'll shout out the source and the author and all that, so if people want to read along, they can. I'm probably going to do short stories, just because. Oh my god! Oh no! How do you do this? How do you do this? Go away! Let me block that. Why didn't you let me block that? Oh, you suck. Maybe it's this one. Looks good. Thank you. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna do short stories, at least for now, because can I zoom in on the text? Yes, I can. Let me fill up the screen with this. Let me know if that helps. You definitely want to maximize your screen. This is one block paragraph, so there's my first critique. But yeah, this is from the Creepypasta subreddit. This is by Catherine Oraf, and it's titled "It Wasn't Supposed to End This Way." And I'm just going to upvote it because I like when people post stories on this subreddit. And yeah, everyone let me know if I'm not talking loud enough or need to turn down the volume or whatever. And here we go. My friend has been acting weird lately. I have caught her standing in rooms with no expression on her face, murmuring something, but I haven't gotten close enough to hear it. She has also been doing super bad in school, although that doesn't seem weird. She has always been. Wait. She has also been doing super bad in school, although that doesn't seem weird. She has always been top of the class. That sounds like a typo. It would seem weird if she's doing bad because if she's top of the class, then that means she's doing well. Also, this second she is capitalized, so that lends me that I think that this is maybe a second sentence that they combined with the first and forgot to change something that should say she has also been doing super bad in school, although that doesn't seem weird. She hasn't always been top of the class. So I'm going to choose to think it's that way. But the weirdest thing I notice is she doesn't speak. Well, if she's murmuring, then she's technically speaking. Maybe change that to, but she's not forming coherent words or sentences. I know that sounds crazy, but every time I try to talk to her, all I get back is either a nod or she shakes her head. Okay, yeah, so she is making sound. Um, so maybe take out the murmuring or just fix that. Whenever I bring this up to her, she walks away. She was always so talkative and bubbly. This has been happening for about 5 weeks or so. All right, so we're going to pause right here. I think this was written by a younger author. Nothing wrong with that, of course. It is very classic creepypasta. It kind of just gets right into my friend. Something's really wrong with her. Not a lot of kind of build up here, which isn't always bad. Like stories don't have to be so traditional in structure. It's just a kind of a delicate balance you're always trying to strike of grounding your story and building up to the scare, but making sure that it's effective. And it's not an easy thing. Paprika, what is this block of text I'm staring at? It's the story we're reading. Over these weeks, I have been thinking, and maybe she is cursed. I know that sounds ridiculous, but her family is familiar with that kind of stuff. Her family is very secretive and they keep to themselves. A couple of years ago, she told me a story about her family. Um, so this is an important point, and I kind of wish that there was a bit more detail. Like, maybe even if the narrator doesn't know exactly everything, we could use some more details of, I think it's a witch coven. I think they're part of a cult. I think they dabble in alchemy. I don't know. This, it would help to stoke the reader's imagination of, well, what could it be? And yes, I'm imagining stuff right now, but I'm also not very intrigued and satisfied with what's being presented because it's just, well, they're weird. That's kind of it. So I would, you could expand upon that. And like, this would be like paragraph 2 or 3 at this point. When my great grandma was, all right, so a couple years ago, she told me a story about her family. When my great grandma was young, she loved to explore, maybe a little too much. One time she entered a forest. It wasn't just a regular forest, that I should be capitalized right there. Either. It was supposedly haunted. She went into the forest, but she didn't come out. Well, at least not by herself. When she came home, she was acting different. She went from being a normal, talkative kid to. Hold on a minute. She went into the forest, but she didn't come out. Well, at least not by herself. And then you should be like, what came out with her? Something else? Or she seemed possessed? That feels like we're missing a sentence here. And you can like explain it later, but you're just kind of leaving out an important detail there. When she came home, she was acting different. She went from being a normal talkative kid to something completely different. Different 2 times in a row there. It was like something overcame her, and I know for a fact that wasn't her. She never spoke a word after she came home from the forest. She always had a blank expression, but one day, a couple months later, she became completely normal. But the weird thing is that her best friend went missing the same day she got her voice back. Okay, so the grandma of this narrator's friend went into a forest, came back, didn't say anything, then got normal, but then their best friend disappeared. So our narrator, whose best friend is now not saying anything, presumably went into the forest, and the narrator is going to disappear. I get it. This is not a terrible premise. It's just the way it's presented is so blunt that Like, is there even a point to the rest of this story? Because, like, okay, we know, and that's the spooky thing, you know. It's like a campfire tale, but it's the presentation is a little. It's lacking. There should be more dialogue. There should be this. I mean, this should just be a bit longer, I think. Why does she know so much about her friend's grandma? I think because her friend told her. uh this got me thinking, am I next? I am writing this after I escaped. Escaped? Escaped from what? Earlier today she motioned for me to come with her. So I come with you where? So I did. She led me to the attic. Okay, so they're at her house. I was very suspicious at this point. I tried to leave, but she grabbed my arm. Just as we went in, instead of closing the door to the attic, I left it ajar on purpose. That's fine. Instead should not be capitalized. That's fine. You know, you're wary of your situation and you are leaving it open. That's actually a nice little detail. You know, you're not. The narrator isn't dumb, like horror movie protagonist dumb, and I kind of like that. She starts to laugh. Her laugh got deeper and deeper until it became a low growl. I was so scared, I started to sweat and I was ready to bolt. As I glanced back at her, I noticed her eyes. Her eyes were black, completely black. I ran as fast as I could out of her house, not looking back. It's been a couple days since it happened. Should be a couple of days, or I think a couple, like, I think that's just slang that's entered the vernacular. And I haven't seen her after the incident, but I still wonder if I would have stayed in the attic with her, what would have happened to me. Okay. You know, definitely an early attempt at writing. I like this premise though. It's not a bad one. It's you could do a lot with having a friend whose family is mysterious and secretive and you get entangled in it. That's a good premise. Just this feels like a rough draft of an idea, you know, like this is your kind of your just your bullet point notes on it's a sketch. It's an outline of a story. Expand this, make it a whole thing. So I'm going to leave that upvote on because why not? So that's that one. It wasn't supposed to end this way by Catherine Oroth. And oh, hello. What did you just do?
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
What did you do?
I didn't. What?
Did you make noise into the mic when I couldn't hear it? Can you shut the door, please? You can make toast. That's fine. Paprika just bugged me. All right. Moving on. The poll I put on Twitter did say both creepypasta and no sleep, so we're gonna do no sleep next. I'm just gonna alternate between the two of these. So this is on no sleep. This is by Color Blindness, and judging by the way color is spelled, I think this is a UK author, or just at least non-North American. If you see an ice cream truck named Mr. Sickles in your neighborhood, ... run. You know what? As far as no sleep titles go, that's pretty damn good. It's not, now I wish I had it. It's not telling me absolutely everything. It's just about an ice cream truck that's haunted or whatever, or bad, or so I'm not pissed off about that. Mr. Sickles has a nice ring about it. Yeah, Randy, I would agree, actually. It's kind of nice. Icicles, Mr. Sickles, but this also could be like a sickle, the weapon or the farming tool, just spelled differently. This happened to me the last time I babysat a guy I'll call Mr. James, a single parent 5 blocks down from me. I'm changing all the names in this for a reason, including my own. Don't ask why, just beware. Don't ask why. Oh, I'm going to. You could hear the jingle probably a mile away. Melody sprang up from the couch and started to sing along. Do you like them green? Do you like them blue? Do you like them raspberry and chocolate too? If flavor is what you craver and you really want to savor, then don't get in a pickle and buy from Mr. Sickle. Then should be then, THEN. So already we kind of have a weird conflict of perspective and presentation. You know, it's opened with, hey guys, this happened to me last time I babysat a guy. I'm changing all the names. It's like, it's conversational, which is how No Sleep tends to be. It's blog or blog or whatever. Grammar biz me. So we go from, hey guys, this happened to me. You could hear the jingle probably a mile away. Melody sprang up from the couch and started like, now you're speaking in a different perspective, and it's jarring because it's like, is this a story that you pre-rehearsed, or is this something that happened to you? How are you presenting this? It was repetitively. Wow, damn, it's early. My coffee has not kicked in. Screw you. Go away. Go away. Ugh. It was repetitively bursting every eardrum on the street as it belted out. That's hyperbole. I don't like that. It was repetitively bursting every eardrum on the street as it belted out its loud, obnoxious noise from a clown nose atop a mishmash truck. Like, yes, those tunes are very loud. They're very tinny. They're in an octave that's very, very easy to hear. I get what you're saying by it, but it's like, oh, it's bursting every eardrum. You could say that it was a harsh noise that, pierced the eardrum, or it just pierced through everything else. I don't like bursting every eardrum. Like, we know what that sound is. It's not that bad. I can only describe it that way because of how peculiar it looked. It was painted a rainbow of different colors, ranging from brown to turquoise to dry cherry and bland yellow. Okay, that's a nice imagery there and description. Like whoever had done the job simply wanted to slap on something and be done with it. There was only the nose to be seen on the roof, the rest of the clown apparatus torn away somehow, likely from a recent storm, and the windows in front of the van were completely darkened to keep anyone from peering inside. As it stopped on the block of 13 and Naunton, should be 13th, whatever, the brakes made a lurching noise like a cat was being put to death, and the entire thing shook back and forth. This is all good. I like all this. It's a rickety old, dilapidated ice cream truck. We've all experienced those, Some are newer, some are pretty damn old. Like, this is all fine. As soon as it stopped, so did the music, and then the side window where the salesman was supposed to be slowly rolled up to reveal an equally black drive-by window with a few words scrawled hastily in bright orange marker. Mr. Sickles makes any flavor, and he always picks your favorite. I couldn't tell what was in between the two exclamation marks, but it looked like an asterisk and fine print, like something you might see after a copyright. All right, so there's fine print that's going to be the crux of this. I don't really like that it's front loaded here. It's the premise is fine. I'm going to be saying the premise is fine so much this stream. Like someone's selling ice cream and they're advertising it technically legally. I mean, it probably wouldn't be legal because you can't violate certain regulations, but they're they're advertising in a way but that has caveats in it that the average person or like kid would not see. That's okay. I just don't know. It's a hard thing to communicate without just giving it away right at the beginning. Maybe this could have been written as, let's see, orange marker, and it had a lot of scribblings around it that I couldn't quite read because it was so small and sloppy. But I guess I didn't really care. I just wanted ice cream. And then later on, someone goes and actually reads it. This is a tough thing to execute, I think, but I do think it's done a disservice to the story thus far. But let's keep reading. Below that was a list of prices: $1 for a cone, $3 for a triple sundae, but some didn't make much sense. $73? Was the ice cream made of gold or something? That would be gold leaf ice cream. That would be disgusting. And everyone's going to be like, and here's the thing, gold leaf really is not that expensive. I think, if I remember correctly, you can get it online pretty cheaply. So $73 is probably just horrendous markup. But yeah, don't cook with gold, people. It doesn't make any sense. Nat, can we get some, can we? Melody asked. Her parents hadn't said anything about no ice cream, and I did have a little change in my pocket. So Nat is the name of our narrator. I'm guessing it's Natalie. I debated it for a second or two, and I knew that my options were either to hear her whine about not getting a frozen treat or to let her eat and have her parents gripe at me later. That's a good point. That's how kids be. If you have ever babysat a hyper 4-year-old, you know what choice I made. I like that. This story has little bits that lend. I think that this narrator really has babysat before, or they're familiar enough with the subject to put in these little details that make me believe what they're saying. I stood there only a few feet away from the window, waiting for whoever ran this jalopy to peer out. I love that word, jalopy. It seemed like it took a rather long time. Then finally, a voice sparked from within. You want your flavor, girl? It asked. I couldn't tell you if it was a man or a woman, to be honest. Okay. I'll take strawberry for the kid, I said, taking $1 out of my pocket. That's not how it works. We choose the flavor. You eat it, the voice responded. That's stupid. I'd be like, well, no, fuck you. There's only one place I've been where, well, okay, there's a speakeasy. It's styled in a speakeasy bar, and they don't really have a menu. You sit down and they ask you, what do you like in a drink? You know, what do you like in your cocktail? And you'll say, I remember I said I like citrus, I like liquors like scotch and bourbon, and make me something like that. And they'll come back with something, but I'm still specifying that I like certain things. This is someone said, like, if you go up to a food vendor and they say, I'm going to guess what you want, I'd be like, no, dude, I'm paying money for this. If I don't like that, I'm out of my money and I'm out of my food. Fuck that. Why was I arguing? Oh, sorry, that's stupid, I admitted, but I also felt a little unsure about myself. Why was I arguing with the vendor? How did I even know what this thing sold was even edible at all? Correct. She likes strawberry, I told the voice. You shouldn't buy for anyone except yourself. Whatever, I sneered. Lay your money on the counter and turn away, it responded. Okay, no, like, this point, you would not bother with this shit. Especially if you are a babysitter and you are entrusted with the care of a 4-year-old or any child for that matter. Like, you're not gonna take chances with this food. Like, what if they get poisoned? Guess who's on? That's gonna be on you. The onus is on you. I shrugged, complying with the instructions as I turned to the kid who was impatiently waiting by hopping up and down. Melody, you need settle down. Should be 2, I told her. I want chocolate too, she insisted. Your dad will kill me, sorry, I said. I waited another minute wondering when the ice cream man would tell me to turn around. Then the voice said, enjoy your treat. I sighed and looked at the lopsided sundae that was now sitting in place of my loose change and offered it up to the kid. Let's go sit on the porch and eat it so we don't make a mess, I suggested. She complied, happy at last. As we sat down, I noticed that the truck was still sitting there. Was it watching us? It gave me a weird vibe. Whatever. Melody got very quiet and her eyes got very big as she took the first bite. Then she screamed bloody murder. What the hell? I asked, looking down at her cone. In the middle of it, there looked like raw meat of some kind, maybe even flesh, and maggots writhing about trying to break free. She dropped the cone instantly and ran screaming inside. So that's a very big event. That's traumatic to a 4-year-old and most people, honestly. So this, like, better be call the police. Call somebody to report this ice cream truck. Hope that your ass doesn't get fired. Because, again, you were kind of responsible. With a huff, I stood up and marched down to the van, slamming on the side of it. That was a mean trick you just played. What is wrong with you? Why are you messing with little kids? I demanded. We only give what they deserve. That's our specialty, the voice answered. Maybe the trope of monkey's paw stuff is just kind of really tired to me. But again, like, this is just the rest of the story now, and I feel like I don't really want to read the rest of it. But I will, just to give this a fair critique. Saw that coming a mile away. Yeah, David. Yeah. This is the problem with no sleep stories. They the trend in the formula is to just like rush to, oh my god, creepy thing. I don't know why people prefer this. I don't know why this gets upvotes, because this, I'm sorting by like kind of the hot post right now. This has 379. That's pretty big for the amount of traffic and submissions that No Sleep gets. Wouldn't you have noticed that earlier? Yeah, Kayla. Yeah, you would. Paprika says, but it really happened. Honestly, I am tired of the evil ice cream truck storyline. Yeah, again, another thing that's tired. Like I always say, everything's been written, of course. So I don't discourage people from trying stuff that's been tread a lot. However, the bar is higher. It's just going to be that much more difficult to make something that seems new and seems good. All right. We only give what they deserve. That's our specialty, the voice answered. Yeah, well, I deserve to get my dollar back since you swindled us, I demanded. Sorry, no refunds. Listen, bud, either you give me the dollar or I'm calling the cops and reporting you for being a peeping Tom. That's not the threat you make. Because number one, you don't know if they're a peeping Tom. Number two, you can be like, you poisoned a child. Or attempted to. There was a pause and I huffed in triumph. A moment later, the voice said, maybe you should ask Melody if she wants a refund. I opened my mouth to make another smart remark when I felt a tug in my pant legs. Then I turned to see Melody standing there, covered in ice cream. To my surprise, she had returned and ate the entire thing, maggots and all. Why is this special ice cream? I want another one, Nat. I got down on one knee and wiped her mouth, confused by her behavior. Honey, that ice cream was nasty, I chided her. No, it wasn't. I liked it and I want more. I need more, Melody shrieked. I heard a giggle from the ice cream truck and turned to confront the vendor. So that's your scam. You make little kids get addicted to your nasty shit, I muttered. Maybe you should try a flavor for yourself and find out, it said. Maybe I should make you taste a knuckle sandwich. When is this taking place? 1955? I said, clenching my fist together. Kids don't talk like this. Natalie, I really need another ice cream, Melody squealed. I told you no, I demanded as I slammed my fist in the van again. I've had enough of this. Show yourself. The window slid open. I was speechless. It's been days now, and I don't really know if I can describe Mr. Sickles properly. He had a face like you might find on a Jack-in-the-Box, except his eyes were hollow and his mouth was split down the middle. Down to this, like, okay. This is another problem. Not only is there the horrific thing of feeding a kid ice cream that's actually raw meat with maggots, but also the ice cream man has to look spooky. Like, it's so, you've already blown your load here. So this is just, it's not even superficial. It's actually diminishing returns. Like, I'm just ugging at this because it's like, well, why? This doesn't add anything. He wore the traditional vendor uniform and hat, but perhaps the most striking of all were his hands. They were literally shaped to be like blades, like sickles, but made of flesh and bone. The name was fine enough. Or maybe, like, I would have hid razor blades in the ice cream if I were writing the story. And then, like, after they served the ice cream, they just peel the fuck out. Because that was, I mean, I think it only happened like once and then everyone freaked out about it. But people were hiding razor blades in Halloween candy. You can do this, but you'd think he would look more welcoming so kids go to the truck. True. That's a very good point, Randy. I found my knees wobbling as the strange creature extending its accordion-like neck towards me. Its expressionless face never wavering as it started up the jingle again, and this time stretched its neck to place its head on the top of the ice cream truck. Then it detached from the folding neck, turning 360 degrees and encouraging other children to come out and try a treat. On its own, that would have been fine, but this is just, like, so superfluous and just, Slowly, it sank its neck back into the dark hole, a headless gas now that was chuckling madly as I felt Melody tug at my pants urgently. I hate to admit it, but in those few nightmarish moments, I had forgotten about her entirely. Yeah, that would have been nice, but I turned to her, and this time I was the one screaming. Her little body was starting to melt the same way any frozen treat might in the midday sun. Her facial expression was a mixture of anguish and pain as she begged for one more lick of ice cream, and her lips slipped from her face and to the street below. A moment later, she was just a puddle of goo, misshapen and unrecognizable, and Mr. Sickles is back on his route again, that unforgettable jingle enticing others to come be a part of his madness. So you saw a child melt in front of you. That you are not going to be posting a story about it because everything on No Sleep is real. I don't like it. Sorry, but it's my opinion. Oh my god. What did you tell her parents? I didn't. I left immediately. I've gotten a lot of calls from her dad, but I haven't answered any of them. What should I do? Part 2, please. Damn. You're a terrible babysitter. I don't think there's a rule book out there that can fit this situation. No, see, there is. It's called Common Sense. And my sister was a babysitter. My younger sister. She, went through training and certification for this shit. And, yeah. If you think it's, suspicious fucking food and the situation doesn't make any sense, don't endanger the child. I don't even know if the dad will believe me. I could go to jail. You should. What the fuck am I supposed to say? Sorry about your daughter. Sorry your daughter melted. This is my problem with No Sleep. One of my many problems. It's supposed to be this immersive, tit for tat, back and forth. It's almost like an RP server that is so restricted in how you can RP that dumb shit like this gets through. And I don't mean the story. I mean this interaction. It's just like baiting for. Tell me what to do next so I can write about it in part 2. I just don't like it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Whatever. We're getting hundreds of upvotes, so I'm sure they don't give two shits what I think. Moving on. Let's see. Sorry, I gotta go through a lot of posts and creepypasta subreddit. Narration. The Candleman. Okay. This is not narration. Sorry, I have to do my mod stuff. How do you do this? I want to retag it. Edit flare. This is a creepypasta story. It's not a narration. All right. It's also cross-posted, but whatever. The Candleman by HillDog75 on the creepypasta subreddit. So I'm a person who doesn't believe in the supernatural or evil beings, but what has happened to me while driving home and it will always be unexplainable to me. Okay, already we have a missing clause here. This trope of opening stories with, look, I'm an atheist, but this made me believe in God. Don't start your story with this. Don't. I wouldn't even include this at all because this is telling, not showing. Show that this changed your perception of things. I know it's enticing to start a story with, holy shit, guys, but, I said. David says, did you hear that front get loaded? Like a fucking, not breech loader, muzzle loaded rifle from the fucking Civil War. It started when I was dropping my date off at home. They dropped their date. They took their date's house and dropped it. Like a fucking mic drop. I may need more coffee soon. It wasn't particularly late at night, but it was a cloudy night. It was only about 9:45 at night, but around the area she lived, it was nearly pitch black without my headlights on due to the fact she lived in the country in a forest area. Oh, that was clunky. You could shorten that up to, I was dropping my date off at home. It was pitch black because she lived in a rural area. At least they have multiple paragraphs, although this block looks like it could be, at least two. As we arrived at her house, she wanted me to come inside and stay for a bit, but I said no, that I need to get home as I'm tired, so I asked for directions how get back to the main road. Is this your first time dropping your date off? Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you just go back the way you came? After she gave me directions how to get back, I said goodbye, gave her a kiss on the cheek, and drove off into the pitch black forest area. It was a long drive back to the main road, but a peaceful one until I saw a strange dim light in the distance through the forest trees. Thinking it's another car, I pulled over to let them pass me because it was a narrow road about the size of one car, only to see that the light wasn't moving, but it was dying away. I'm gonna stop here at skeptically, spelled incorrectly. Spooky backwoods roads that are small, narrow, fine setting. Don't mind that. I remember driving a lot of roads in the UK that are just so narrow and dangerous. And at night, when there's not a lot of lights out, it is actually harrowing. You really got to be on your game. So I can relate to this. However, it's just all kind of shoved together. And we're not taking enough time to really set the scene. I think it's relying on people kind of doing a lot of the imagination for the story, and that's never a good thing. Skeptically, I take off back onto the road, slowly driving around the corner to see what was making this light. But as I made it around the corner, the light completely died and I couldn't see it anymore. I decided to slow down just in case. You're already slow, like you stopping at this point? Just in case there was a car or a person wandering the silent road. As I continued to drive slow down the road, I put on my high beams just in case. You're not really supposed to do that if you suspect someone else or a car is coming, because you don't want to blind them. Sorry, I just lost my place. As I drive past the giant... Oh, shit, sorry, I skipped over. Okay, I didn't see a car or a person on the road, but I saw what looked like a termite hill, but much wider. A termite hill's kind of... Did termites make hills? I've had termites before. I don't think they make hills. And if they did, it can't be that big. It's like an anthill. While driving closer, I can now tell it wasn't a termite hill. It looks like it was some giant wax candle that had been burnt with a flamethrower only minuets before I got there. As I drive past the giant wax thing, I notice it looks like it's moving slightly. I pull over and get out of my car to get a closer look at the wax thing. As I'm approaching it, I can see it is moving slightly. Jesus, this is just, it's written so staccato. Buh. Add a little bit of tension and release in this. Some termite mounds are like feet tall. Some are really big, but I think it depends on where. Fair enough. Like, I don't know. I'll admit my ignorance on that. I step a little... Oh, no. Sorry, I clicked out. I step a little closer and see that there is a slight glow coming from the middle of it and another glow coming from the top of it. I start to look very close at it now that I'm only a meter away from it. I now see this thing is the same shape as a man encased in wax. Okay, this is a little freaky, I think to myself. Mine would be what the fuck. Like, it would be an expletive for sure. So this is called the Candleman. What's a Candleman doing out in the forest? Kind of feels like not a great setting, but whatever. As I am about to turn away to go back to my car, the glow coming from the middle and the top of the wax figures start to glow brighter, and it starts to pulse. The wax starts to melt around the two glowing spots in the wax figure, revealing green burning flames. This is very Halloweenish. I would almost like put this around Halloween instead, and I'd be more into this because this is very... It's Goosebumps goofy, but that can be a good thing. Use decide sparingly. Amateur writing mistake I see a lot in... yeah, no, I agree. Slime Beast says, also hi Slime Beast, forest better than abandoned building better than no other settings possible. What is a candle, man? A miserable pile of wax. I turn away fast and start to run to my car, freaking out, thinking to myself, this isn't real. This isn't real. This can't be real. I get into my car and turn the ignition as fast as I could. As I'm about to speed off, I regrettably look back for one last glance of the thing. Maybe this isn't this writer doesn't have English as a first language. I'm starting to get that feel. I look back and stop completely petrified in fear. The wax thing had moved from the side of the road into the middle of the road somehow. The wax thing had moved into the middle of the road. That's what that sentence should be. I pushed my foot flat on the accelerator, trying to get as far away as I could from this thing, ignoring the fact I accelerate over 120 kilometers. I'm going to reread that. I pushed my foot flat on the accelerator, trying to get as far away as I could from this thing, ignoring the fact I accelerate over 120 kilometers. I'm assuming that should be like 120 kilometers per hour. So that's speed, not distance. In a heavily should be forested area, nearly sliding off the road several times. As I'm driving, trying to find my way back to the main road, I find a crossroads. Thinking, shit, I didn't see this on the way here. Panicking and not wanting to see that wax figure again, I think, I don't care, just calm down and pick a road and drive. Okay, that is a natural reaction when you're panicking. When I get lost out in the sticks, that's often what I do. It's just like, okay, just find a road. And if it doesn't look good, turn around. Because I've been, for one of my old jobs, I had to do that out in the middle of just buttfuck nowhere. It happens. A few minutes pass, and I've been traveling down an old dirt road that was from the crossroad, trying to make sure I never have to see the wax figure again. I throw my arm across the front seat, trying to grab my phone to try and figure out where I am. Damn, no signal. See, that should have been done way before, because everyone has Google Maps. Why are you doing it now? Then I see it out the corner of my eye. It's here. It's fucking here, standing in the middle of the road. I slam my brakes, braking about 8 meters away from it, seeing the more wax is melted off of it and looks humanoid. Far more humanoid. Now, the 8 meters, were you measuring that in your head when you did it? Just say, meters away. The 120 I could believe because, let's say you're speeding and you look down, you didn't realize you were speeding, and you look, and because you have a meter, it says 120. That makes sense. The 8 meters away, that's very, not time stamping, but just, very specific numbers that you're just not going to calculate in your head given the situation. I panic and put the car into reverse and floor it, but my car won't go. I keep trying to get the car to move before the wax figure starts to move towards me. No fucking way this is real. This isn't possible, I say, panicking. I turn the car off and grab my phone and get out the car and try to run, but I see that the ground, it covered with melted wax. The ground covered with melted wax. Figuring out that's why the car wouldn't go. Even if it's covered, it'd still be mixing with dirt. I think it'd still have traction, but whatever. Thinking, that's a nitpick I'm doing, ignore that. Thinking, how is that even possible? That wasn't there 2 seconds ago. Period, that doesn't need to be there. I abandon the car, thinking I can lose it in the forest. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. So I try my hardest to move fast through the road full of thick melted wax. I get past the wax and rush into the pitch black forest. Now you're lost in the pitch black forest. So much better. I run faster than I ever had before, weaving in and out of trees, trying not to slam into a tree. I slow down near a grass patch, seeing the moon and the sky lightly lighting up the grass patch now that the clouds have disappeared. I look around, trying to see if that wax figure had somehow followed me. How can it be following me? It's made of wax. How can it even move? I hear some twigs snap behind me. Not looking behind me, I start to run again. As I rush past tree and bushes, I feel them cut and scratch me. Should go without saying, but this does need a lot of typo and grammar and spelling cleanup. Running further and further into the forest, I start to slow down again, hoping that thing hasn't found me. I start to fast walk through the bushes, finding trees that have been broken down. On closer inspection, I see that they have cold wax on them. If this thing did that to trees, what will it do to me if it gets me? Spooky. I I start to walk off again, hoping to find something or someone soon as it is now 1:12 a.m. Yeah, I mean, okay. I start to wonder now, why me? Why does it want to find me? Because you didn't go inside to hang with your date. That's why. It's a morality tale. They invite you inside, spend some more time with them. Unless you got a real emergency to get back. You know, go be with your bae. I keep walking and thinking about it, keeping an ear out just in case it finds me again. I start to find a bit of open land now with wax all over it. I stop and scan around the trees in the open area before I walk out into the open. I start to walk cautiously, scanning the area another time. Suddenly I feel a hand grab me. I turn around and I see it grabbing my arm. I start to scream in pain as the wax, it burning hot, and is burning my skin. The wax figure has melted so much I can see through parts of it and other parts were on fire. This story is tedious, the way it's written. I walk through forest, I see thing. I think to self, I scream. I walk through other part like this. It's padding, it's filler. I rip my arm out of the burning wax as make a run for it into the open area. I hear a blood-curdling scream behind me, and I hear it continuously scream as I run away further and further. I run as fast as I could, trying to escape that thing's screams, but they seemed to echo around me, even though that thing wasn't even near me anymore. It was like it was right next to me, like it was screaming right in my ear. In the distance, I see house, or what looks to be one. I start to tear up with wow, no, that was me. I start to tear up with happiness and joy, thinking this could be it. Is it the Candleman's house? This could be the end of this horrible night. As I get closer and closer, I slow down, nearly crying out of happiness until I realize this house is an old cabin that's falling apart. Why wouldn't you think that it's the Candleman's house? I mean, he can fucking plonk anywhere he wants and coat the forest with his wax. That sounded dirty. I collapsed to my knees, nearly completely heartbroken. I slam my fist into the ground out of pure rage and see a rock to my side. Candleman! I pick it up and throw it through one of the old windows of the cabin. Before I can gather myself again, I hear that awful thing scream again. I have no choice. I have to run into the cabin. This is very like choose your own adventure. Do you choose to run into forest further? Do you choose to abandon car? You see old cabin. What do? I look in the window and see portraits of wax families on the walls. That's where I'm going. In my head canon. I rush through the old cabin door, really throwing it off the old rusty hinges, and slam the door behind me. So you took it off the hinges and you put it back on? Pushing my forehead against the wall, hoping that it won't find me here. I slowly turn around, only to see the entire entrance is scribbled with the words, Candleman. Candleman. Just reading those words gave my chills. Number 15. Candleman. Oh, I'm a child. Thinking. Just to think that thing has a name. I hear the scream even closer now, thinking I have no choice, I need to hide. I rush through another door, being completely horrified by the sight of 3 people's rotting bodies stuck to the wall with wax. Oh no! Seeing that nearly name me throw up. Oh. Give me a minute. Seeing that nearly made me throw up, and the smell made my eyes water. Seeing that nearly made me throw up. Woof. Knowing I have no time, I hide under a broken bed, praying that the Candleman doesn't find me. Still smelling the smell of death, I tried to breathe. I tried to breath silently. Breathe and breath. That is something I see misspelled so often. Was Ed's imagination running wild again? Yes, Paprika. Slime Beast says, oh, it's Dead by Daylight. Oh, dude. Dude, but Candleman as a killer, I'd be fine with that. He could have like an AoE where he puts down wax and you get slowed. That's awesome. I could see that. Sorry, I've got the sniffles because I have allergies on top of recovering from bronchitis. Why can't anyone write about vomiting? Well, yeah. From there, from where I was, I could only. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping again. I hear the door in the front slam open, and I hear footsteps coming towards the room. I try my best not to move or to make a sound. I see the candle man's needs a apostrophe food come through. Food. He shoves filet mignon and roasted veggies through the doorway. I see the candle man's foot come through the doorway, dripping with wax, leaving a trail behind. I try covering my mouth to avoid making any noise. While seeing the candle man move around the room, he stops and screams again, nearly busting my eardrums. This needs to be an icon pasta. I need to rename this or edit the flare to be icon pasta because that's what this is. And, you know, icon pastas, they are what they are. Everything, all this comes with the territory. But, man, I almost want to host a freaking writing contest of make a good icon pasta because it would be so difficult. Then he drops over one of the bodies, making a sucking noise. From where I was, I could only imagine what was happening because I couldn't see anything. I colluding. Oh, dude, was this done like on a phone? Because that would explain a lot of these typos. I couldn't see anything other than the candle man's legs and the blood and wax mixture dripping down the walls. We're almost done. Ooh, winner gets their icon drawn. I do like that. Slimy says, if the killer leaves a candle on a generator, it must be blown out before repairing, which alerts the candle man if he's outside. Yes! We need more goofy shit in fucking, in Dead by Daylight. I need to get back into the game. I really want to. I want to buy the clown DLC because like no one uses him and he actually sounds kind of fun. Whatever. After waiting for a minute, the candle man left the room and then I heard the door slam open again. I wait a few minutes to make sure he is gone and I make my way out from under the broken bed. Standing up, I see now what the candle man was doing to that body. He had ripped all of the skin and bone off, making it all into a wax-like substance. It was like it was feeding off of the bodies and making them into wax. I look at my phone, seeing it is nearly 3 a.m. Now, isn't wax made from tallow, which is animal fat? So you could say just stripping all the fat off, but whatever. I start to walk from the room into the entrance of the house again, scouting to make sure that the candle man wasn't there. After I scouted the whole house, I left the house. I thought it was a cabin, to try and make my way away from this place. I walked for what seemed like hours before I found the main road. After I was traveling on the main road, I hitchhiked towards my suburb before I finally made it home. Is the moral of the story, don't date people who live out in the sticks because Candleman? When I got home, it was still dark out and I went into my bedroom and just passed out. A day passed when I got one of my friends to pick me up and take me to where my car was. Still covered in wax, my friend was confused how that even happened, so I said, I'll tell you some other time, but you wouldn't believe me. After that, he helped me get the car out of wax. I told him I wanted to go check on my date and say hi, so he went off back to my place waiting for me. Why would you go back here at all, dude? You should be like calling your date and be like, are you okay? Come to me because I ain't coming to you. As I went down the road to see my date's house, but I couldn't believe my eyes that her house was the old cabin I was at when hiding from the candle man. Thinking I must be going crazy, I checked the address she texted me before the date and we went on, and it was the exact same address scarily. I thought the date was just like a setting, but it's actually coming back as important. That all happened 3 weeks ago, and every night since then I see a glow out my window and I hear the name Candleman echo around me and I have a permanent hand burnt into my skin. I don't even know how to unpack that. Ooh. Ooh. Holy shit. Very campfire creepypasta. That's all I can say. Needs a lot of work. I get that it's an icon pasta story, but oh boy. Oh boy, dude. Oh, sorry, not troll pasta. That's not correct. Okay. We have a lot of discussion about making the icon pasta challenge, which I am totally in favor of. Oh man. But then I also have that other idea that I haven't told anybody about. I have so many ideas for contests, guys. I could run them all year. Okay. Moving back over to No Sleep. Oh, no. Don't be breaking now, Reddit. Come on, dude. This has been happening all week. Okay, there we go. Whew. Whew, boy. Okay, good. I'm a grievance counselor, and I've just discovered what it is that clowns pray to. To their clown god. He honks from the heavens, and it soothes my soul. Oh my god. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Oh. Oh, I accidentally opened up No Story. Oh man. Oh man. Oh yeah, No Story. That is a subreddit if you want to post shit post no sleep titles, and that's it. Oh, it's pretty fun. This is part of a series, so I don't know if I want to read it because it's probably. Oh no, it's not long. Is there a part 2? Oh, never mind. The rest of it just loaded. Oh, nope. Nope, we are not doing that. I watched a weird ad on YouTube, and now everyone I look at is faceless. Front-loaded title. I was a counselor at Camp Redfern. There's a reason we shut down early last summer. Yeah, I just did shit out in the woods. Let's find something else. Yoshida Telecommunications Services call transcription records. Kakuta to Sendai call number 4928. Okay. Not quite epistolary, but transcription. Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, and a short. Thank God. Okay, yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this. Let me crack my knuckles. Okay. This is by VRPNDT on No Sleep. Yoshida Telecommunications Services call transcription records. Kakuta to Sendai call number 4928. I can read. Note, all calls must be transcribed in English due to a malfunction in the Japanese keyboard settings for RPCs. Talk to a translator for help and further information. I get that that's the reason that it's going to be in English and not in Japanese, but you could just say, I translated this into English to post here, because this is primarily an English speaking and reading subreddit. And I mean, English is probably at this point the most spoken and written language in the world. Attention, all records are being sent to the main offices in London. London. Yoshida Telecommunications Services is a Japanese company, but it's a subsidiary of a English one? British thing? Is that common? Like, I know that corporate structures are weird, and you can have very traditionally localized companies be owned by some other parent company elsewhere, but I don't know enough about Japanese companies, actually. I'm talking out my ass. That just seems a bit weird. Like, I don't know why that's in here. RPCs or for the RPCs? Before anyone asks, no, I'm not going to read SCP or anything like that, because I just do not like those stories. Original caller, number not displayed. Original receiver, number not displayed. Third caller, number not displayed. So we know it's from Kakuta to Sendai, but we don't. Transcriber, Akumashi Nobu. Call date, April 30th, 2021. Call time 3:07 in the morning. Call type 3+ callers. Call start. Caller. Satoshi? Satoshi! Please, can you hear me? Receiver. It's 3 in the morning. What are you calling me for? Someone's after me, Satoshi. I don't know who, but they followed me home, and were in my house watching me. Satoshi. Receiver. Okay, where are you? I'll meet you there. I'm in Natori. Natori? Oh, man. If only Cinnamon Nipple was here. They could tell me. At the park. Hurry, please. Receiver. All right, I'm coming. Stay on the line, just in case. I'll be there in half an hour. Bye, dude. Thanks for coming. It was fun. Oh my gosh, I got 9 people listening. Hi, everybody. Break. Receiver, muffled noise. Tell me exactly what happened. Don't leave out any details, okay? I was coming home from work yesterday, and I noticed someone following me until I got about a mile from my house. Then they left. The next morning, they were outside my house, but not blatantly standing in front of it. Instead, they were around the corner across the road. Stopping here. This is a good premise. This is actually good. Having a stalker, calling someone, being afraid, very real, very grounded, happens all the time. So let's see what they do with it. Did you see their face? No. What's wrong with you, Satoshi? Oh wait, no, not Satoshi. Yeah. What is it? Nothing. Just carry on. I'm so disappointed in you. Then it got worse. They began sending threats through the mail and trying to break in, and tonight they did. Sob. Listen to me, Stay put. I'll be here soon. Then we can deal with this together. Is the caller the actual... Oh, no, there's 3 people, so I'm guessing the third person who's going to call in is the stalker. Come to think of it, I caught a glimpse of that man's face. Yes, when he ran away the first time I saw it. Okay, I'm at the Kumano Shrine. Get over here. Coming. Wait, I told you I was at the park. You come here. Look, now's not the time, Hurry up. Maybe the receiver is the stalker? Satoshi, what grade did we become friends in? What? Fine, it was muffled noise and talking. 4th grade. So the caller doesn't believe the receiver? We have an impersonation thing happening? Who were you talking to, Satoshi? Myself, sorry, I developed a habit of talking to myself. All right, I'm coming. Okay, I see you. I'm coming over. Wait, you're... Stop! Third caller calls original caller. Caller accepts. Where are you? Why aren't you home? Unfortunately, your call cannot be taken right now. Satoshi, is that you? Where's I? Unfortunately, your call cannot be taken right now. Call end. Transcriber notes. Looks like nobody knows what fate has in store. Except me, of course. In Japan, names and their country reflect personality and attributes. Perhaps that's why I do what I do. Okay. So this requires homework, which I'm really not. First hit's the no sleep thing. That's awesome. Oh God. Google Translate. Enemy's death. Nobe Akumashi. I'm sure this is not right, but death of enemies. Okay. That's a nice little reveal at the end. It's short and sweet. I could see this as a really cool, like, audio drama bit or a little short film. You really have to like this ending for it to pay off properly, and I'm not blown away by it, but so far this is the most together thing I've read so far. Oh my god, I have been reading for over an hour. Meh. You get an upvote. Congratulations. What the fuck? What's that? What happened? Did it lock me out? Yeah, it locked me out. Alright, moving on. The Candleman. Hello, I am the Candleman. I have been whacked everywhere. Real story. Chills every time. Yeah, okay. Why not? Why not? Very short story. So short it's one paragraph. Again, block paragraphs, people. I don't like them. Please don't do it. It's hard to read. When I was about 10 years old, I would stay up all night on the computer playing games. Amen. Amen. My computer was upstairs in my living room, which was connected to my kitchen upstairs. I guess you live in like a duplex, but it's not two separate houses. It's I considered I did a an open house of a pretty big property. Like the lot wasn't big, but the structure was big. That basically had one level was its own self-contained like 2 3 bedroom apartment, and the top one was its own thing. So it had like 2 different kitchens. If I had more money back then, I would have bought that, and then I would have rented out below. And oh, that would have been cool. Anyway, my room and my sister's room is also upstairs down a short hallway. I was terrified of the dark growing up because my parents would leave me home alone and I would always hear doors closing downstairs, so I kept the kitchen light on when I was in the living room. Maybe this is just the ground floor, but you have a basement? But this is all very you're scared of the dark when you're young. That's fine. So one night after my dad dropped me off at my mom's parents are divorced. I know that. I know that feel. I know that feel of having divorced parents. And my dad dropped me off at my mom's late at night. I hopped on the computer after turning on the kitchen light and TV. After a few hours pass, I hear my sister's door open from down the hallway, so I spin around in the computer chair to see what she's doing up so late. I did it so hard that I fell out. Oh, man. Hold on. Candleman something robot. The robot Candleman is completely different. I don't know what you mean by that, Paprika. Is not equal to robot? Anyway. I couldn't see her face, but from what I could tell, it looked like a girl my sister's height, so I instantly thought it was her without ever questioning. 'Cause who else would it be? Alright. I said her name while asking her what she was doing, and I got no response from her. She just walked out from the hallway, turned the kitchen light off, and walked back into her room, shutting the door behind her. She's probably just like, doesn't want to waste electricity, man. I instantly got the chills, but I just assumed she was sleepwalking. I went downstairs and slept in my mom's room because I was a little shook by what happened. I woke up in the morning to get breakfast, and when I went upstairs, my sister's door was wide open, but my sister was nowhere to be seen. I asked my mom where she was, and she told me she stayed the night at her friend's last night, and she still hasn't come home. I got the worst feeling when she told me that and thought to myself, what if I walked up to whoever that girl was, or if she looked at me? It's 9 years later, and I still cannot process what happened that night. Still left shook from it. So this is more like a dream you had as a kid that you swear was real. It's like a false memory. Because I've had those before. It's not bad. For what it is, it's not bad. Definitely just a little tangent anecdote. But that's cool. Thank you. Wow, that was dope. I will not say that, wow, that was dope, but good start. Good start. And back to no sleep. I would read this clown one, but it's just too damn long. Sorry. Because I love you. I hate rule stories. I hate rule stories so much. Do not look at the closet from 12 to 3 a.m. Kind of just had a story like that, so I'm not going to do that one. Jesus Christ. Wait a minute. These are both by Midnight Author 1. I transport souls to the afterlife of my brother. Oh, this is part 2 to this story, but it has a different title. So it's part of the same series. Okay, whatever. I may just go back to the creepypasta subreddit because this is getting stupid. My dark tourist adventure to Russia's Cannibal Island. You guys really want me to read the clown one? Okay, let's see how long it is. I don't know, my voice can take it. Also, whatever you're hoping it's going to be, it's not going to be, because this is how No Sleep goes. You know, you read something and it sounds like this batshit off the walls idea that could be really fun, and then it isn't. You know how many times that has happened to me? Look how long this shit is. Fine, whatever. I may just need another drink soon, just to keep my throat from eating itself. All right. TJ Lee. Oh. Isn't this the dude who ran the No Sleep Writers Blackout? I want to say that it is. Well, he's probably gonna strike me for this if he finds out I read this. Because I'm not doing it with permission, but here's the thing. I don't need permission to review something and critique it. And I'm going to be interspersing critique and review. So this is not me just doing the thing wholesale. And it's going to take me a fucking hour to read. We'll see if that holds up. Probably won't. You're kidding me. Sorry, let me start over. TJ Leah is the author. This is on No Sleep. Title, I'm a grievance counselor and I've just discovered what it is that clowns pray to. So I don't find clowns scary. Never have. We'll see if this makes me slightly scared of clowns. You're kidding me. Another one? Is this one at least off-site? I ask incredulously, looking up from my monitor mid-chess match with some chump from New York. My assistant, Luis, a well-dressed and uptight psychology student interning with my business, staring back at me through thick-rimmed glasses and enough contentment that his judgment was audible. Yes, Miss McGowan, this one was in fact called in by the mortuary nearby. I thought you would be happy to know you have a client lined up. He shook his head. Did you not take this job to help people? I stretched back in my chair, stealing a glance at the picture on my desk before getting to my feet and grabbing my coat, smiling at Lewis as we headed to the door. That isn't quite what I do, champ. Grab my bag, you're about to get a crash course on how weird this job truly is. And call me Penny. Penny Dreadful. While I got into the bereavement counseling business to support those who had lost so much at a critical time, it was the approach of the city health minister that ultimately changed the course of my career in ways I'm still struggling to appreciate. Even now, I chronicle. Ooh, okay. This is one sentence. There should be two. It was the approach of the city health minister that ultimately changed the course of my career in ways I'm still struggling to appreciate. Even now, I chronicle the recent events. Yeah, there should be like a period right here. Not a lawyer reacts to No Sleep. To put it simply, we've all seen those lame psychic TV shows and B-movie horror flicks that go on about how ghosts cause havoc because they can't move on, right? Usually flippantly delivered by some wacky hippie who needs a crash course in hygiene and Zoloft. Some wacky hippie who needs to bathe and go on prescription drugs? Okay. They espouse platitudes about how the family will be safe and secure if they do what... Oh, wait, Zoloft, doesn't that make you sleep? Sorry, never mind. About will be safe and secure if they do what the ghost wants in order for it to pass on to the next realm. And then, what is this? What is this little thing that... LSEP. Is this like the meta... Oh no, it's in the story and you keep reading it. I don't know. Well, I'm here to tell you that's bullshit, mostly. I couldn't tell you what it is that happens when we die, only that people do occasionally get stuck here. A message left undelivered or a task that needs to be delegated. Okay, so we are meant to assume and believe ghosts are real, afterlife is real, you can get stuck between the two. Kind of weird for a psychologist to, or whatever, a grievance counselor to acknowledge this. You're not really a scientist, but whatever. Better pay off. Turns out it's a lot more common than the public realize, but most lack the aptitude to interact with them in a way that is tangible. Instead, we get infrared cameras, vocal affirmations from some moron shouting, "What is your intention?" like they're fucking deaf, and a lot of dramatizations and dumbassery that transfers into big YouTube views. Don't you dare talk down my boy Zach Baggins. He may be butt fucking insane and a charlatan, but he is entertaining as hell. Say LSEP 3 times into a mirror. In reality, they're normal people who just want a polite conversation and to be understood before they can go wherever they go. Maybe this is a trade secret of counselors, morticians, and psychologists, but there's no embargo on the topic, and recent developments in the career have made me think more need to hear about this. Sure. Morticians, they talk with ghosts, I guess. We drove down to the mortuary and let ourselves in, the Gothic architecture lending itself to a museum of death vibe, but the owner was eccentric, turned up to 11, so for me, this was to be expected. Or it could just be an old building. Fuck. This seems to be in, ellipses, poor taste. Lewis remarked as he walked in, straightening his tie and looking over the portraits on the crimson wall opposite the shimmering black counter, each one a loving rendition of patrons that had donated to the morgue's bills. Bills. Well, they're dead, so I don't think they mind too much. Plus, the main attraction is downstairs. This is all window dressing, a jaunty voice called from behind the bar, spooking Lewis damn near out of his boots. The figure rose slowly, a huge grin lining her youthful face as jet black hair flowed in braids that hung down past her neck, a beautiful brooch just barely visible above her scrubs. "This is the new stiff, Penny?" she remarked, turning to me and offering out a heavily tattooed hand. Keeping my gloves on, I shook it and smiled back. Yep, and turning from Miskatonic. Oh, come on, dude. See, this is the problem with no sleep. Everything is real, especially that thing that everyone knows and treats as fiction because it's fiction, but I guess that's real too. God damn it, I can't take this seriously now. Like, I love Lovecraft. I have 6 Lovecraft tattoos on my left arm. I just saw Color Out of Space with Nick Cage. It was fucking fantastic. This is not how you do Lovecraft correctly. And even if it's just a one-off little reference, dude, like, Lovecraft confirmed. Whatever. First week and first proper job outside of the office. Good to see you too, Fala. Miskatonic has to be nowhere else. It's not spelled Miskatonic. Fictional university. Fictional town of Essex. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, it's not fucking real. Whatever. Blah, 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 blah. He looked over, mouthing, "New stiff" at me. I widened my eyes as to confirm that was indeed what she said and not to make a fuss. Thankfully, he relented. So does he? She asked, pulling up the divider on the bar and letting us through as she headed to the basement door that led to the morgue. He doesn't, but he will soon, I replied, the chill of the morgue hitting me immediately, my hair threatening to turn as white as my complexion. I'm very white. We headed down the stairs and got to the second floor. Fala fumbled with the keys as I turned my attention to Lewis, adopting my best serious mentor look. I knew explaining the next steps would require leaps in logic and trust he was not ready to make. I think as I knew. Yeah. Lewis, whatever happens next, you need to do 2 things for me. LSEP. Miss McGowan, with all due respect. LSEP. Call me Penny, but also shut up. First thing... No, it's not like a coding problem, is it? Like line separation? Maybe that is a problem. Maybe, but I doubt it. First thing, do not interrupt when we're in there or interfere physically. Second thing, and this is important, trust me, LSEP. I stared at him intently as his hand reached for the cross around his neck. He swallowed and nodded. What the fuck? Second thing, and this is important, trust me. I stared at him intently. As his hand reached for the cross around his neck, he swallowed and nodded. Am I dumb? First thing, don't interrupt. Second thing, he grabs the cross around his neck. Is Elsep like, oh, what the fuck? What is this? What's the second thing? Oh, whatever. Is that the thing? He didn't tell him the second thing, and where are the clowns? Yeah, right. Penny, this is just a dead body. I don't know what kind of counseling you can do with a corpse. Dead men tell no tales. Oh my god, they said the line. I shivered as the door opened and the sterile white room stung my eyes, patting Fala on the shoulder as I walked in. Lewis, you don't know how wrong you are. We turned the corner, and sure enough, there was our client, body draped in the familiar white sheet on a cold slab of steel, all semblance of vanity gone from its frame, only the husk remaining. Just beside it were two wooden chairs facing each other and a small table in the center. I didn't know you were bringing a protege. He'll have to sit on the free table. Fala gestured, pulling open an empty slot from the wall as Lewis, still confused, audibly grunted. There has to be line separation. It has to be. That's extremely distasteful. Can you not just get another chair? He protested. But Fala grinned and rubbed his arm. Relax, you won't be alone. Mrs. Williams is on your left. Mr. Mujahid above you, and little Tanaka on your right. Her smile made Lewis uneasy, but I loved her eccentricity. She set off up the stairs, calling back, let me know when it's done. Be wary. This one's weird. Before a slamming of the upstairs door left us to our work. I used to work in a funeral home, and morticians are eccentric. Not this way, though. This feels very Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's like, and I'm not saying you can't do this. It's fine to have creative characters, but I'm supposed to assume this is all real. Again. Yeah, if we don't get the fucking clown deity soon, I'm just gonna give up. She set up off the stairs, calling back, let me know when it's done. Be wary, this one's weird. Before the slamming of the upstairs door left us to our work. All right, open up the bag and hand me some candles, a matchbox, the music box, and the locket. You're a grievance counselor. You're a fucking medium. You're a goddamn psychic. Like, how are you different from the people that you bad-mouthed? I don't, like, it just, you could just, how does this make me, like, have a different perspective of you as a grievance counselor who also can talk to the dead? You're a medium. Just own that in the story. Ugh. Blah, 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 blah. I clicked my fingers and Lewis obeyed me, passing me 8 large black candles with small inscriptions on the sides that I dutifully placed around the circle. So black candles are supposed to be, like, for bad things. But I'm just thinking about the Satanic Bible, so whatever. Well, for a moment I thought you were making a satanic circle. Thank goodness, Lewis chuckled nervously. I sighed. Well, you're half right. For one, the textbooks always get the design wrong. It's 8 candles for the 8 circles of hell. I thought there were 9 circles. There's 9 circles of hell. I guess you can say in your universe there's 8, but there's 9 circles of hell. Thanks, Randy, for coming. Sorry, I missed that. Oh, boy. With one larger candle in the center as a guiding light for the spirit to follow. Second, the pentagram doesn't come into it all that much, but we're not bringing forth a demon, and we're not trying to invoke anything today beyond our client here. So you assume that the client's in hell. This is very confusing lore. I looked up to see the horror on his face. Relax, Lewis, you won't go to hell for doing this. Look at it as the Lord's work, but if that makes you feel better, do me a solid and turn off the main lights, would you? Best we don't have any distractions. Okay, so Lewis is very superstitious and religious. And that was supposed to be thing 2 that Dr. McGowan told Lewis. Number 1, don't interfere. Number 2, I'm going to do weird satanic occult shit, and you got to be okay with it. Why couldn't you just say that? I get it's kind of explained here, but it's just very clunkily written. I don't understand. I carried on placing the items, the locket on the table wrapped around the largest candle, the music box in my hands, and the matches now used and lit up. Once the lights were dimmed, I instructed Lewis to get his notepad out to dictate and reminded him of the rules. Still nervous, he nodded, and I began turning the handle on the music box, the keys steadily coming to life in a macabre reanimation as the melancholy tune rang out in the morgue. This is all very gothic, and that's fine, but I don't know. Sure enough, a few moments passed, and his spectral form took the seat opposite to me as Lewis began hyperventilating. I clicked my fingers and tapped on my hand to get him focusing on his writing. Yeah, that's how you stop someone from hyperventilating. Hey, stop. Through shaking hands, he managed and, between furtive glances, scribbled away. I'm sure this must be very confusing for you. My name is Dr. McGowan, the medium, and I'm a bereavement counselor, the medium, but you can call me Penny, Dreadful, the medium. I'm here today to find out what's keeping you around and help you move on. Do you think you could tell me your name? The more we talk, the easier it'll be for you to form into our world. Ozzy. Ozzy the clown. The heavy metal clown. Dr. Roxo! A gurgled voice reverberating as a rough outline started forming. I nodded. It's good to meet you, Ozzy. My condolences on what happened. The mortician wasn't able to give me the info in your passing. Do you think you could tell me a little about it? The form shivered, and the outline lost its focus for a moment before settling. I frowned. We can talk about you first, if you like. Tell me about your job. Can't imagine being a clown was ever easy. At the mention of this, the form became a bit clearer. Long feet sprouted into big green shoes. The outfit, a mishmash of blue and orange on either side with bright yellow and red polka dots, don't know why I couldn't say polka dots, along the torso. A huge comedic bow tie around the neck and a pair of black suspenders on either side. The hair a tangled mess of wiry blue curls that pointed out in every direction. But the face still hadn't formed. In its place was a sea of static. Perhaps he was remaining guarded. I suppose it didn't matter in the long run. I got out my personal journal and took some notes. Finally, we have clowns. Clowns confirmed. Have you ever wondered what clowns pray to, miss? He asked, his low, gravelly voice taking me aback. I guess even in my line of work, I expected him to be goofy or animated, not like a normal person. Cursing my momentary ignorance, I coughed and replied, No, I thought they prayed to the same gods other people did. He chuckled. Not even close. If you knew what I knew, well... He paused, the frantic scribbling of Lewis distracting us both as he mouthed a silent sorry before calming himself. I guess I should start at the beginning. Clown gods. Okay. This just feels so try-hard. Whatever. He shifted in his seat and the form bore... okay, hold on. Again, this is kind of being told, not shown. My name is Ozzy the Clown, King of Kings. Look at my works, ye mighty, and despair. Look at my works, ye mighty, and honk. Like, what if you were just stalking some clown? Like, some clown went missing, and you had to go, like, find wherever they were holed up with their clown stuff, and you found this weird-ass shrine to a clown god. That would have been a much nicer way of being like, holy shit, is clowning a religion? Like, that would be so much more interesting than I'm talking with a fucking ghost and they're going to be like, so I pray to this weird-ass clown. What did I tell you, people? What did I tell you? It's not what you want, and it's just disappointing. He shifted in his seat and... The form bore weight, the chair accommodating. I sensed this could be something even more out of the ordinary than usual. I was the best circus clown that Boston had seen in 4 generations. I'm sure you were. I was so lovable and eccentric, I drew even the kids who normally hated clowns to me, and they laughed at my antics. Oh, how they laughed. Up to that point, it was the most wonderful sound I'd ever heard. Do you know how rewarding that is? He leaned forward, big white gloves clasped over each other as he thought. If it were anyone else, it'd look comical, but here it just looks sad. Sad clown. Clowns have been a terrifying concept even before Stephen King's It. Is Stephen King's It also real? It's not a book. It's an account because everything is real and no sleep. But Miskatonic's okay. but I can imagine it makes it all the harder for you guys to entertain. Did you feel accepted when they didn't turn their heads?" He nodded, and I sensed a smile behind the static. "It was the most wonderful thing. After seeing so many of my colleagues and even my father be shunned by the masses thanks to that fucking movie and a ton of bad apples, I wasn't even sure the life was for me. Man, I was angry that a movie and also a lot of bad apples who like fucking killed people. Oh no. Sure, it's in my blood, but that doesn't always mean it can't be vaccinated. What the fuck? Oh, okay. I need to just read through these things. He paused, his hands open as I exchanged a tense look with Lewis and back to him. He sighed, his posture failing. Yeah, I never was good at jokes. More of a slapstick guy, sorry. It's fine, Ozzy. So how long were you a clown for? 22 wonderful years. I worked in the big top mostly, but I'd occasionally do outside parties if the price was right. His voice dropped and became quiet. That's where it happened. The first time. The first time? What do you mean? I pressed. The first of 3 heart attacks. It caught me right as I was going into my finale. My family were huge Tommy Cooper fans, and my grandfather even worked with him on the circuit way back when. I don't know who Tommy Cooper is, and the narrator should be asking, because I don't think this is common knowledge. As a way of honoring him, we'd do the fake heart attack gig, and then when hearing the sounds of a funeral song, we'd spring back up and shout, "I ain't dead yet," to a ton of laughter and applause only. Only when you did it that time. It was for real. I sighed. This was more common than people realized, and maybe nature's way of warning us not to tempt fate. He nodded. Right, but here's the kicker. People always say they see a white light or a vision of heaven, Jesus, and all that crap when they die temporarily. I didn't, which brings us back to the original question. What do clowns pray to? I asked. Something more, he replied, the giggling in his voice unnerving to me. How much more of this do I have? Oh my god. Okay. This will be the last one. The moment I asked, the music box rang out on its own, the melancholic tune now faster, maniacal in its pace and amplified within the room as the form in front of us changed. The oversized green shoes rotted and blackened, toenails exploding out of the ends and sharpened, fungus protruding underneath, the clean white gloves staining with brown and black slime, the fingers growing longer and the fingernails matching the thickness of the toes, small insects crawling around inside them, the vibrant mashup of colors drained and were replaced by obsidian, black, and crimson red. I have both those paints on my table over there for my Warhammer minis. Small writings, not dissimilar to the candle, written all over. Smart buttons forming down the center. This would be small buttons? Like smart as in like smart dress? Whatever. And all the way up to the neck, the bow tie replaced with a huge necklace made of teeth and ending in the skull of an infant, and the blue ivory hair now signed off, a bald black head forming in front of me, the face filling in the gaps as Lewis gasped and began reciting the Lord's Prayer under his breath. Ozzy paid no notice as he continued. So the clown god's being summoned, and I am already so not here for this. Oh boy. I love how Stephen King It is mentioned. What made Stephen King's It scary is that it was a clown that enticed children with its clown antics, and then it turned into a horrible monster. But like there's setup, and in this, it's like scary clown god, look out! It's the exact opposite of a clown. Why would you worship something the exact opposite of how you comport yourself? Like there's like typically when someone worships something, it has some aspect that you relate to or find kinship with. That's kind of the point. Oh god. The first time I died, I saw a huge pair of gates with an emissary stood at the front. He was the most beautiful clown I'd ever seen, and he told me to gain access to the wings of the eternal. I had to prove my worth first. He sent me back with instructions and that I'd meet him again when I'd done enough to warrant an audience, but that I had to change the outside to reflect the inside. So I changed my outfit, cut all my hair, and started a new routine, a fun routine. I went from Ozzy to Osmosis overnight, literally and figuratively. So this really isn't that different than any other religion, which makes this very uninspired to me. Like you have a clown god. A clown god. You shouldn't have gates. You shouldn't have emissaries. You should have weird, goofy shit. Because it's a clown god. I like saying that word, clown god. His smile formed, white lips with stained yellow teeth, the back set a rotting green and the tongue covered in thick white foam. Ooh, spooky clown. I began doing more intimate crowds. Giggity, the slapstick became interactive, and I always ensured the children took part. By the time their parents knew what was happening to their kin, they'd usually be paralyzed with fear. Sometimes I'd switch it up. Take a bite out of the mother while the children watched, pull off her arm with my bare hands and hit her with the appendage, telling her to stop hitting herself. He laughed, slapping his knee as he repeated his own sick joke. So he went from, I love clowning, I hate that it has a bad reputation. Also, I pray to a clown god that makes me kill people. So the thing about clowns being bad is true? And they have a religion that makes them kill people? You began butchering people? I said, sickened. He laughed harder at this accusation. Miss McGowan, it's not butchering if it's for your god. No, then it's just ritual sacrifice. Your little buddy over there prays to a guy who has had billions of men, women, and children sacrificed to him, all without a single bit of entertainment, punchline, or true purpose when they die. But according to people who kill in the name of that religion, there is a purpose? So, what is happening here? Is this just like taking pot shots at Christianity for the fun of it? Is there a point? Because there's really no difference between what the clown religion does and that one. And if that is the point, why is it in here? People kill in the name of religion. Yeah, we know. Ugh. At least when I do it, there's dinner and a show. He laughed again, licking his lips and making me bite mine in anger. I didn't always eat them, but taking some of the flesh was making them a part of my eternal audience that I could carry with me everywhere I went. A mobile audience does wonders for your confidence, you know, so it's like Egyptian now. You can take it with you. Now the eyes took form, beady little blue eyes bolstered by white makeup that turned them into flames, eyebrows shaven off the face. The second heart attack hurt far more than the first, and when I met the emissary again, he praised me, said I was close to getting my wings, and I'd be flying to my paradise with my adoring crowd soon enough, but that was still 2 more tasks I had to undertake. I kept on making notes, trying to keep my cool, hoping that whatever he had left undone was enough for me to take care of without maiming or hurting anyone. As long as I focused on the work now, I could deal with the aftermath. What did you have to do that was even more taxing than mass murdering and eating your crowds? I asked, not even bothering to ask how he got away with it since he'd either lie or I'd discover more than I wanted to. I'm a counselor, not a police detective. No, you're a medium. His smile grew wider and I could see something writhing in his mouth, making his teeth move unnaturally. Convert the other clowns, of course. They still worship the old gods. Their comedy wasn't favorable, so I gave them the gift I had, and those that resisted simply became a part of me. I took a literal bite out of the competition. Oh yes, Miss McGowan, there's a lot more of us wandering around with those same gifts now. Sure, some will resist and try to indulge their darker comedy, but eventually we must all grow up and realize the best kind of laughter is through pain. Oh, this is so tired. And writing isn't easy. It's hard to do this, but oh man. I just wanted a goofy clown god. That's all I wanted, and I didn't get that. But that was the easy part. It was my task that I knew I'd have trouble with. His nose formed, and with that he crossed his legs and leaned forward, pressing his hand on the table to look at me closer. The hardest part was dying in order to get my last message across. What would that be, Osmosis? What can I do in order to help you move on? I asked, dreading the answer with every passing second. You know, you're not required to do this. You don't have to. It's a fucking ghost. They used to pray to the old gods, huh? So Hastor has a clown following. The clown in yellow. When the last heart attack hit me, I felt my body freeze and my blood run cold. I was conscious for the entire experience. I didn't see the end until they put me onto that little tray behind us. While the bacteria ate my flesh, I kept thinking, hey, at least I'm losing weight. He grinned and didn't even wait for my reciprocation. When I went to the gates this time, they were open, and the emissary told me in order to complete my last task, I had to see what lay beyond the gates. I thought that was the paradise awaiting me and my kind, but it wasn't, Miss McGowan. Penny. It was so much more than that. His smile stayed, but the tears in his eyes fell, and in place of water there was a black ooze that singed the skin and melted his flesh. The smile intact as he laughed and cried, unmoving as he stared at me. My last task was to see what lay beyond the door and make sure that you, Miss McGowan, knew too, because it will make your work that much busier. I'm so bored. He leaned forward, the music box going haywire and the muscles in his chest bubbling as his tears tore through the flesh. The smell was unbearable. You would just leave. Are you ready for the punchline? He asked, his voice now breaking from the pain. I nodded as Lewis shook his head, clutching his cross. What do clowns pray to, Osmosis? I asked one last time, his laughter ripping at his own vocal cords. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Isn't that funny? Nothing. They pray to nothing. They know there's an afterlife. There is a supernatural emissary, and they have supernatural powers, and they pray to nothing. Technically, no. I mean, sure, technically, yes. You don't actually offer prayers to something in general. But you're still doing something religious. He laughed, eyes beginning to grow bloodshot. I knew there was something there when I floated in the eternal void, something that had told much darker jokes that I can. I spoke, it laughed, and my soul felt ablaze with purpose, but being back here, it's like it doesn't want me to know. So it is something, unless nothingness is but nothing isn't capitalized. Ugh. Without warning, he leaned in closer, face inches from mine, as he cocked his head. I guess you could say it's an inside joke. He burst into laughter, and I saw something in the back of his throat, a darkness that shouldn't be there, something moving in it. This is trying to be Lovecraft so hard. He pulled away and wiped the tears in his eyes, burning his hands but paying it no mind. The best is yet to come, and that's not a joke. I'm a more slapstick guy anyway. I'm more of a slapstick guy. He clicked his fingers, and his cadaver rose from the table and began hobbling towards him, the corpse already embalmed and organs removed, his flesh loosely hanging off of atrophied muscles as blank eyes sank into the skull. It wrapped its arms around the table as Osmosis grinned. Shouldn't it be you worship death? Like, you worship death, the opposite of life. Because clowns are supposed to be like uncanny valley opposites of humans, kind of, in their makeup and stuff. Whatever. Does this count as playing with yourself? He chuckled, taking a bite out of his forearm with no protest before remarking, tastes like chicken. Ain't that weird? If it's me, right? Oh boy, Lewis retched and vomited on the floor as Osmosis laughed harder. I knew the job had to be finished. What more needs to be done, Osmosis? How can I help you move on? He stopped laughing, and the corpse snapped its neck up and towards me, slack-jawed as he shushed it, rubbing its face. You misunderstand. The task is done. The message has been sent, he dryly replied. This was just an encore, a little thing for you to remember me by. Since I couldn't put my hands on you thanks to that locket, I thought I'd make sure I stayed in your head. What was the message? I'm not following. He sighed and snapped his fingers, the corpse slumping over the chair as his form faded. You meatbags don't listen, never do. I don't know what he sees in you, but that's not for me to say. The stage belongs to you now. The message was for you and anyone like you that can talk to us. Your job is about to get a lot busier because someone opened those gates for the near dead, and now a lot of people know the truth. He smiled one more time as he began fading from the room. Clown God opened the gates of hell to... The dead will walk the earth. Now they're zombies. What the fuck is this? What is this? How is this scary? I don't... It's punctuated with gore and body horror that doesn't do anything. They've seen the funny side of dying and they want to share the punchline with the whole world. It is a death god. Just say it's a death god before they come to join us in servitude. I felt sick, but not as much as his laughter ringing out long after his final words, leaving us with more questions than answers. You're not laughing right now, but you'll be dying too later. I promise. I promise hyperlink to part 2, I'm sure. Which I don't care to read. No. Ugh. Ugh. No, Slade, why do you do this to me? Why do you have to be the most popular horror fiction site right now? I want to go back to Candleman. Candleman was more entertaining. All right, well, thank you everybody. This was fun. I will definitely be doing more of these during the lockdown. So I'll definitely post that out when I'm going to do more. Tell your friends who chose that story. I did. I chose all the stories. Oh wait, you, all of you pressured into reading motherfucking Clown God nonsense. So I'm gonna go write Clown God properly. And I had a lot of fun with you guys. Did anyone count how many times the Bisbee side? Okay. I'll listen back. Anyway, thank you everybody. I'm gonna go play with little plastic toys like the man child I am. Thank you again. We will do this very soon. Bye bye.